in this market, it's a little more serious. So, you're not looking to try to convince anybody of anything. You're just trying to talk to enough people to find out the ones that already are going to be doing it anyway. And they might as well pick you. They have to move. It's important to move. They need to move, and they need to move quickly. So your job is not to hurry them along. Your job is not to convince them, wouldn't you love a newer house? No, don't even go there.
Hey, Masters, welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery podcast. And we are coming from our monthly special, one of my favorite episodes of the month, as a matter of fact, because we have Mr. Ren Jones with us. Ren, what's up, man?
Hey, David Hill. We're just living the dream, aren't we, in this business? This is the business to be in.
You say that every month, brother. I love that.
Think about it. Think about it, like in your first 2 or 3 years selling real estate, you're like, oh, things are just terrible. Oh, I just cleared a closing $20,000 check. Oh, everything's great. Whoa. Yeah. A few weeks go by and like, oh no. It's always a strap in. It's a wild ride,
The proverbial real estate roller coaster.
I know. Right? I know. Who doesn't love roller coasters?
Yeah, that's great. Well, I love doing this every month. We kind of break it down and come together and talk about what's happening. Because the reality is, and you're always super clear on this, is in reality, it doesn't really matter what's happening in the market, right? We can control our own market. We can control our own destiny. We can control what we do. We can control the actions we take every day, right?
I truly believe there is way more advantage now than 6 months ago. I mean, it was a lot harder to compete when everything was selling. You could hire somebody that got their license last week who would actually get it sold in spite of themselves.
Yeah.
So that makes this a lot easier if you have some market knowledge and know how to get around the block. You're way ahead. The for sale owners think they need your help right now because they watch the news and they think that it's hard to sell a home, which it's not. But we are not going to tell them that.
Do you think they still have they accepted reality yet, Ren? Like, well, by the way, for people,
no, we don't want them to accept reality because reality is it's not that hard because there's inventory still rather low relative.
It is low
the past, but so we don't want them to accept reality. We want them to accept what they see on CNN. That's what we want them to accept because then we're going to get that listing and we're going to sell it.
Got it. Okay, awesome. Well, listen, Ren, for you guys that don't know Ren is 145 years in real estate. No, I'm just kidding. Ren, how long you've been, you're what, 35 years in real estate now?
David, you know the rule. 20 plus. You always say 20
okay,
plus.
Sorry. 20 plus. I will be 20 plus. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be in that whole group soon because November is going to be 20 years in real estate for me, brother.
And this is actually an easy time, but we don't have to tell sellers that.
Yeah.
This actually plays well for a real estate agent right now compared to 6 months ago. It really does.
Well, the real estate agents that are willing to show up, right? The ones that are willing to put into work. We were talking about this yesterday, like, especially this time of year. Like, what do you tell people? Like, let's get in that.
Well, we're moving from anybody who can fog a mirror can do a deal to if you are skill-based and you have a fundamentals of skills, then you're going to be very wealthy and your peers are not. So you better be getting some skill. Right. You better be getting some market knowledge.
Let's let everybody know.
Can you help them with that, David?
Well, first I want to let them know that you're talking to Mr. Ren Jones, the CEO of Vulcan7. You've been doing this a long time. You've sold a lot of houses. You've been, you say 20 plus years. I feel like it's double that or close to. You're a frigging machine. And
I got about 1,400 homes sold over the last week or two, or it's all time.
So you've been doing this a long time. So I want to talk about this time of year first off, before we even get into the numbers. Yeah. Like this is a time. This is a time of year where I see a lot. I've been doing this, I was in the trenches a lot of years and we always took advantage of this time of year. I look at this time of year as an opportunity, especially like 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now.
Yeah, since we hit Halloween, half the real estate agents will be like, think they're done for the year until January 2nd. I don't know why. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah. So I feel like it's a time to turn it on. Like
It is.
this is not the time to coast, to take a break and wait till after the holidays, because here's what ends up happening. On every sale, on every call, a sale is made, right? Your clients, you call your client and your client's like, oh, hey, I'm going to wait till after the new year. And the realtor's like, okay, me too. And then they just go on autopilot. Not all realtors, but a lot of them. Where
And when you look
like
at the stats, the number of homes that sell relative to supply. I mean, if a seller wants to, you know, cash out and pick up an extra 20 grand more than they would normally, you know, when the inventory tends to load up in the spring, they're better off to do it now. And there are a lot of people that have to sell for a variety of reasons. Job transfers. This is that time of the year where people start a new job in January and they need to sell and get transferred, moved into the next place. There's a whole lot of have to sells in October, November, December. Yeah. Just a lot of them. Just a lot of them.
It is an opportunity. It's every year. This is a time of year where, you know, right around the beginning of November, we would just say it's time to turn it up, like double, like like even what we do normally is probably more than double what most agents do, but now it's like 4 times, just because there's such an opportunity, not just to get business now, but to build that pipeline after the new year, right? Like, right. Because no matter what we say, Ren, you know this, there's going to be people that are going to wait till after the first of the year.
Right. This is what an agent needs to do. They need to pull up their hot sheet every day, a 1-day snapshot. And what they need to do is in their backyard where they sell every day. Oh, 37 new homes came on today. Oh, 26 homes came on today. Oh, 52 homes came on today. There's your wake-up call, folks. There are people doing it every day now, right now, putting it on for the first time. If you watch that, it'll change this stinking thinking.
Well, what do you mean by that? Like what?
People go, well, people aren't going to do anything to the first of the year. Now, they're not thinking that quite yet, because real estate agents will work till the end of October and somewhere. Then they start thinking things like that. But if they look at the hot sheet every day and they look at what came active today in my market, then they're going to go, the Morrises listed their house. They told me they would call me. Right, exactly. So, folks, pull a hot sheet every day and look at reality. That your daily hot sheet is your reality. Look at what's gone active. Look what's gone sold. Look what's gone active. Look what's gone sold. Pull up active, pending, sold, expired, whatever, and get involved. You know, that's reality. The stories, the narratives, the one in your head or the one on CNN is strictly that, a narrative with its own purposes.
Man, I took a sip of my water and it went splashed right on my glasses lens. So I'm over here battling with this.
Raining inside, David.
Podcast. This is great.
So that really helps. Number one. Number two, when they get into November, December, and I don't know when they're listening to this recording, they may be listening 4 weeks.
We're gonna next week, man. We're gonna put it out right away.
Right. But then they may not hear it for 3 weeks. They may play it later, right? But so here's the thought: in November and December, if you can't get them to meet now, and consider putting it on now. Let's say I'm talking to you, David, and you're like, "Well, we really have to sell. We really want to sell. But I'm just, Aunt Lucy and her tribe are coming in, and we got a house full of people. We got the holidays, and you can't get an appointment. Okay, this is an important technique. I'm gonna say, David. Let's say, got it. So, what I'd like to do, it's easier, David, for me to take you out of my schedule and to put you in. May I tentatively set? Are you thinking like the first week of January, David, or third week of January? What are you thinking? Yeah. David,
I'm thinking the first week in November. As a matter of fact.
No. Seriously, you're somebody that's putting me off till January. Are you thinking that first week of January? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean January 3rd, January 2nd. I mean,
okay, like somewhere in January. Okay, got it. So what I'd like to do is January 7th is a Wednesday. Are you home on a Wednesday, or would we have to meet in the afternoon, evening?
I mean, you're welcome to come Wednesday, but I know Dave Hill's coming on January. Tuesday the 2nd.
Right.
So
No, be real, because
if you want to
say,
take
are
the
you at
chance,
home during the day, or do you when are you home on a Wednesday during the week?
when am I
David?
home?
Yes.
Well, I am being real. I'm okay with the 2nd, but yes, I'll play with the role play with you. Yeah, I'm home. Usually the afternoons work better for me.
So you're home in the afternoon. Oh, great. What I'd like to do, David, is tentatively pencil in Wednesday, January 7th at 4:00, and that's tentative. And I promise I'll call you a week ahead and confirm. Is that okay? Would you allow for me to do that? And because you might say, well, just call me then. And then I'm going to say, I'm doing it for me tentatively. I promise I'll call a week ahead and make sure that would work. But generally, that would work. Is that fair? Is that fair, David?
Yeah, I like
great,
that.
Great. So then and this is a very important thing, because what happens is a lot of agents go into January and February with leads. I've got 17 people that said they want to do something first of the year. And the problem with that, as we know, is everybody else has the same leads. But if you have an appointment, see, I just got an appointment. So I'm January 7th, 4:00 tentatively, and I got him to do it for me. And I promised I would call a week ahead. And now I've got a solid date and time. So then when I'm checking in with them, just say, then I call like December 12th, say, I know you're getting ready for the holidays. A lot of people look forward to seeing you January 7th around 4 p.m. And they're like, oh, I guess I set an appointment with him. Yeah, And then we go a little further. And then I go, it's New Year, a couple days before New Year's Eve. David, looking forward to seeing you January 7th at 4 p.m. Okay. I've got a solid appointment.
Yeah.
Now, what I've found is you can set up all these appointments, and here's what happens, and this is tested. A third of them will honor the appointment. A third of them will move the appointment slightly, and a third of them will actually still bail. But 2/3 of those will meet with me, which is huge. But if before I would just get leads, and the failure rate was really high. But if you can get an appointment, it works. It's a technique that works. But first, try to meet with them in November and December, and consider selling it then and coming out with a little bit more money.
So let's talk about that. And also we've got about 40 people on Clubhouse, so we are going to open it up, Ren, to questions.
Yeah.
This is live, by the way. Ren is here on the podcast. I know normally you pop into Clubhouse. You're welcome to if you want, Ren, or not. Either way is fine.
Okay.
We're in the Clubhouse room, but let's say you are. I mean, either of us can role play it. Like I call you, and you're like, well, I'm gonna wait till after the new year.
Right.
What you mean? What does that sound like?
Well, then I like, what's important about moving? Because they'll go, where are you moving to? How soon do you have to be there? But most important, what's important about moving? If they're flaky and they go, well, we always thought we would move to Orlando, whether it's this year or next year. No, let those people go. Forget them, because they're going to talk to 82 agents over 2 years. But if they go, no, we've got, my wife's starting a new job in Minnesota, and we've got to get up to Minnesota. And then just say, I got it. Good. Minnesota. If they have to be somewhere and they have to be somewhere soon, hang on tight, do whatever it takes. If they're kind of way out, what's important about selling? Like, listen, David, and I know there are a lot of agents don't even ask where are they moving to, how soon they have to be there. And then thirdly, most important, what's important about moving to blank if you can't get a clear read on it? Sometimes they'll volunteer it. Well, we're starting a new job, being transferred, whatever. But you got to get the background information, because if it's really they don't have to move, or they don't have to move in any time frame, let them go. That's for your competition. If you're making enough calls, you think, if you're not making many calls, you think that's a good lead. But if you're making a lot of calls, that's considered a bad lead. Believe it or not, if you're making enough calls, that is considered a bad lead.
It's true. So let's connect this now to the market, right? So like market data, I looked at the I've been following I just go to NAR. You can get a lot of information at NAR. Yeah. There's others. There's Inman. There's other.
What do we know? Because if you follow the news, you think there's every house on the market for months.
Here's what I know. Well, here's what I know. Right now, in August 2022, home sales were down 4% from July of last year. And if you took the
Oh,
whole year, well, hold on.
okay.
If you take the whole year, home sales are down 19.9% from where they were last year. That's a 20% drop in home sales. Like that's a real number.
Yeah, that's a real number. I'll take that.
So when people hear that, like, what are we saying? Like, how do you get somebody motivated when they're hearing that?
No, you can't motivate a person.
Okay.
The job is not to motivate a person. The job is to determine what they're trying to accomplish if they have to do something, or the desire is already high. You can't talk them into desire. Well, my wife wants to move, but I really don't. Well, in the last market, that poor sucker he'd be moving whether he wanted to or not. But in this market, it's a little more serious. So you're not looking to try to convince anybody of anything. You're just trying to talk to enough people to find out the ones that already are going to be doing it anyway. And they might as well pick you. They have to move. It's important to move. They need to move, and they need to move quickly. Your job is not to hurry them along. Your job is not to convince them, wouldn't you love a newer house? No, don't even go there.
Okay. Well, I understand that. I mean, there are a lot of people that are like, well, we'd like to get that house with the extra bedroom or the, whatever, but interest rates have gone up and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, because interest rates have gone up and it's, right, I hear this all the time.
Right. So, use the 4-letter word. Next.
I love it. Next is the 4-letter word. That's awesome.
But it is, and contact. This is a contact sport. Your job is just to find out the people that. Yeah, we got to move.
It's
I like what they have to. Yeah, we've got to move. I like that. Yeah, we need to move. Yeah, we're going to be doing something. Well, tell me what's important about moving there. Then it's solid as a rock. Or if it's like, well, we'd love to have a pool one day. Like, no, that's not your client. That's your competitor's client.
So here's what I would say. I think also though, there's you got to categorize clients as A clients, B clients, and C clients.
Yeah, those clients go to your competitor. Yes.
Well, okay, fair enough. But the A clients and then the B clients.
Right. We only have so much bandwidth. Don't you agree?
I like to see clients go to your competitor. I've never heard that before. So that's really good. Yeah. But if you have a good database that works, you can even use the C clients because you don't have to do much.
Oh, no, ABC and in your database. Yeah. You have your A clients they sing your praises. You need to sell. You better call my realtor, David. He's amazing. Yeah, and then your B clients that they like you, they know who you are, and they'll work with you if you stay in touch. And the C clients is everybody else.
Well, no, what I'm saying though is A clients
ABC with strangers.
Well, okay. Hold on. My ABC is a little different, so I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Good.
A is like they're doing business right now, like within the next 30 days.
Okay.
B is 30 days to 90 days.
Okay.
And C is 90 days plus.
And it depends. See, if it's 90 days plus, like we have to, we have to move back.
Maybe it's a year.
We're here for 3 years, and we have to move back to Munich in June. I'll take that. Maybe it's a C client, but really it's an A.
Not. That's too. My scale is too small.
So so it's at the level of. But if there's too much time to chat with agents and too much time for things to happen, it's there's only so much bandwidth. And here's the problem, and this. Agents would rather talk to less people and work weaker leads than just spend an extra hour each day talking to new faces. And if they did that extra hour and they talked to new faces, they'd work a lot less. And if they worked only sellers, they would work a lot less. Because the only buyers they would have are the homeless they created from selling their home.
So what do you feel is and I'm going to open it up for questions in a minute, but what do you believe is the biggest challenge right now that real estate agents are experiencing?
Call reluctance.
Okay. How so?
It's easier to work weak leads than it is to have the intestinal fortitude to spend an additional hour each day talking to people they've never met yet. Because it's comfortable, but it's comfortable and it's not. It's comfortable, but you are working long and hard for less. But if you'll get out of your comfort zone and spend an extra hour each day talking to people you don't know, looking under each rock for somebody that needs to move and needs to move right away, you will work a lot less hours. And if you're focused on sellers, because some of those sellers turn into immediate buyers, quick buyers, your life will be just so much easier. You'll have money and the time to enjoy it.
Hey, David.
So here's something. Hold on. I'll get to whoever said, hey, David, in a minute, but hold on one second. So here's something I heard last week, and I just was like, that's friggin' bull. Someone was saying, well, now's the time to start focusing on working with buyers. Like, to me, that makes no sense at all.
No, we hear that. Whenever there's a market shift, the agents have been doing this a long time go, I'm going after sellers because the market has changed and there's huge opportunity. No matter which way it changed. In 2007, 8, and 9, I heard top agent, new agents go, well, nothing's selling, so I'm going to work buyers. Oh, good luck with that. And then you had, and then the seasoned agent's going to go, well, nothing's selling, so I'm just going to do listing because it's so easy to get them and build up a lot of inventory. And because a third of them are going to sell, or 40% or 50%, depending on our pricing. So, and then when we had the market getting tight 5 years ago, you had the same story. The seasoned agents were listing property, and the new agents like, well, I'm just going to work with buyers because you can't get a listing. So, it's the same song, David. It's the same song, no matter which way the pendulum swings.
And no, yeah, I 100%. But and I'm not going to say but, because but's the wrong word here. The reality is,
God love the people that want to work those buyers. That's what I always thought.
Well,
God love them.
If your theory behind that is, well, there's no inventory, I'm going to work with buyers. That's even worse. Right? Don't you want, like, if there's no,
well, that's what it was back. That was what it was back then. They would find people that wanted to buy. But yeah, I mean, but it's always the case. Now they're like, I want to work with buyers. It's not like they can't. It's actually easier to get a listing, and it's easier to get it sold now than it was 6 months ago. It's easier to get a listing. It's easier to get it sold than it was 6 months ago. Yeah, but it's taken 22 days instead of 4. So,
all right. So we give
me a break. The only thing not selling are the greed sales, folks. The only thing that is not selling right now are the greed sales. That's where the agent goes, well, how much you want to sell it for? They know it's worth $350 in their heart, and they say $450. Those are the greed sales. Those are the only ones that
greed
don't
sales.
Sell.
I love it.
Those are the only ones that don't sell right now.
Yeah. So every month I get the same takeaway from you, though. It's like the takeaway I always get is motivated. Find motivated sellers.
Why would you work with any buyer or seller? Like with a buyer, the mantra, I can only help you if you're ready to buy now.
Yeah.
It's the same mantra. I can only help you if you're ready to buy now. I can only help you if you're ready to buy now. We're just going to think about it for a couple of years and then change our mind and not do it. Yeah, I know.
I have no issue with buyers.
That's why I'm not talking to you, sir, ma'am.
Hey, so I think we had a question. Want to definitely keep the question short and concise. We are on a live podcast. So who has a question, Tony?
Hey,
Tony.
I guess the last 15 minutes or so you guys have been talking, you could probably summarize it in this one sentence is get to know as soon as possible so you can move on, or just put them on a campaign drip as an NO, because whether it's selling or especially buyers, it sounds cruel to the uninitiated or to the public in common, but probably the last 10 years, agents have been victims with the good heart of getting trapped in trying so hard for so long and nothing happened, and they wasted their time, or they used their cousin's, sister's, brother's ex-roommate as an agent. So my broker told me about 3 or 4 years ago, he said, when you're looking at buyers especially, you want to get to no. Don't you mean yes? He goes, no, because if there's going to be a no there in some way, you don't want to waste your time. You want to find out now. So it's not that we're jerks or we push, but isn't it true though? It's just like, imagine 25 people lined up to go to a doctor, and you want to find out, are these people are going to pay? because it's a business still, or any business.
Right.
So I think part of the problem, to the other gentleman, I don't know, I know David, but thank you to the other gentleman for having good insight. I appreciate that. So I will summarize it to the best of my ability to say, as real estate agents, if you truly care about what you do, and you do this to feed your family, and there's no plan B, your time and your expertise, if you really read the contracts and know what you're doing, your time and expertise and the time of your life that you'll never get back is valuable, equally so as the person you're talking to. So you should do yourself an honest service by taking care of the people who really have a yes there, and try to find out who's a no. And if it's a no in some way, like David said, put them on a drip campaign. Maybe they'll change their mind.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I want to spend the least amount of time professionally to find out if there's a no there, and then move on, because you got to make money, guys. And I do it by doing what I love and care. So thanks for letting me take a moment to share that. And again, it's met with respect. That too many agents come in their brain like they're praying, oh God, please come on, say yes. Oh God, please stop it. If you're valuable, like David, I would never dream to question David's commission if I wanted to sell my house, because I hear him speak and I'm thinking, wow, this guy's good. So all right, let's sell my house. Let's do this. If I'm not going to use him, he's going to want to find out quickly. So anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. And I'm here to hang out and help out. And good seeing you, David. Always nice to know you're around.
Thanks, Tony.
Several very good points. One of the things is, we have to be in service to our family and manage our bandwidth carefully. And we also have to be in service to the people, the buyer or the seller we're working with. And we can be best in service if they really need our help. And if they're looky-loos, or if they're contemplating for a long period of time, and I'd say be selective about who you put in your drip campaign. You're not looking for warm bodies. So make sure that you're only dripping on those C-level ones, those people way out. They're, that are big maybes, and not no, like, no, we have no intention of moving. Don't drip on them. Forget it. I mean, you might as well just everybody in your city drip on them if that's what you're doing.
Not everybody's buying or selling, right? Not everyone's buying or selling.
Right. So, to be in service to people, only work with the ones that need your service. So one, like you're working with a buyer, just say, if there's, when we go out Thursday and look at these 5 homes picked out, if you fall in love with one and it's perfect home, is there any reason you wouldn't go ahead and write a contract? Well, blah, 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 blah. Great. We'll bring your checkbook with enough money in it for an earnest money deposit, just in case. You say that, and then they go, well, we're just getting started. We're just looking. Blah, 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 blah. Then go, I can only help you if you're ready to buy now. Are you ready to buy now when we go out Thursday? It doesn't sound like you are. Well, no, we're just getting started. I can't help you. Well, why? Because if you fall in love with one, guess what? It won't be there next month.
Yeah. So. Well, I know you're thinking, Ren, and everybody watching this live, is why does David have that bicycle shirt on that says Great Cycle Challenge? This one right here.
There's more to the story, right? Children.
Because we've raised over $6,100 this month and rode 400 miles. That's why.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So,
coming in contribution to the people. Amen. If everything we do is touch the lives of people and lift them up, but you're not going to do that trying to motivate people. That's commission breath. That's you. If you're trying to get somebody to do something so you can get paid. But that's not contribution.
I did get this shirt, but we did raise $6,100. So
that's a lot of money, David, and that goes to children's what?
It goes to the Children's Research Foundation for Cancer, and so it's awesome. And today, it's a moot point to even tell them where to donate. Well, you can still look up the Great Cycle Challenge, but the actual fundraiser ends today, September 30th. But yeah, we're gonna do it again next year. Ren, here's my challenge. I reached out to somebody, and he donated $500 to the cause. His name's Ken Zelensky. Okay, and then he texted me back after, and he's my mentor over at Cardone. I'm one of Cardone's elite coaches, and I was telling him how I was excited, but I said I doubled my $2,500 goal, and you know what he texted me back? And it was kind of like a slap. He's like, dude, he goes, next time, why don't you have a little bit more confidence and set a real goal? I was like, damn, dude. Why don't you? Because But think about it though.
Well, anybody hanging around with Grant Cardone thinks big.
I should have said a $25,000 goal, not a 25.
Well, you just said it for next year, right? 25,000. That's
so
the one.
Year. So that's the type of people I want to listen to, Ren. That's the type of people I need around me, pushing me.
Think go big or go home. I agree.
Yeah. Amen. All right. Do we have anybody else have a question on Clubhouse? Tony, appreciate you contributing.
Yeah, Tony.
That was a good share, Tony. Anybody else? Jay, do you have a question? I'll throw it to Jay. Jay does a lot of prospecting on a daily basis. What's going on, Jay?
Morning, David. How are you? Ren, nice to meet you on the other side. Yeah. So, Dave, I've been getting a lot of this question from agents and even from people in their uncertainty, right? If we look at what's happened in the market, you guys already talked about it. Rates are up. Prices, at least in my area, have yet to come down, right? We're still holding pretty strong. This is causing a lot of sellers and some buyers pause. They're not sure. Are we about to see a change in the market that's going to impact where if they can wait a few months to move, would it be a benefit to them or not? And a lot of people are starting to pause in the face of that uncertainty. And much like when we first were in the pandemic, I feel the conversations that we as agents have with our clients is going to impact the market directly. And I feel we should learn from what just happened and have even better conversations this time around. So my question to you both is, how would you be communicating the current state of the market to people? And how would you be helping them decide what's best, whether to move, hold, assuming they're not like, I have to move by tomorrow. And if they have some flexibility, how would you help guide people? Because a lot of people are asking.
Ren, you want to take that first, or you want me to? It's up to you.
It doesn't matter to me. The first thing and foremost, predicting the future is a fool's game. We can give them the current facts, and we say, this is where we know interest rates are going to go. They're either going to come down, and it's going to be transitory, or they're going to go up further, or they're going to stay the same. That's what we know.
That's brilliant.
Now, so basically whether you should buy, sell, or hold, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish in your life. Generally speaking, it would be safe to say that if you sold something and bought something, whatever you bought will continue to go up in value, even if you're paying a little higher interest rate. The good news is bricks in an inflationary period, owning bricks and mortar, and that's metaphor, it can be frame. Owning bricks and mortar is the best thing you can do in controlling bricks and mortar. If you're putting down 10%, for example, on an $800,000 house, look at the amount of money controlling $800,000. $80,000 is controlling $800,000, and the value of that home, generally speaking, will follow inflation. We saw that. I remember that well. We went through hyperinflation where, this will sound funny, a $35,000 house almost overnight became a $135,000 house. And people are like, whoa! And that time is like this time. That's one thing we know, that real estate will follow inflation. And most people are doing a mortgage, so there's a leverage component. They need to look at that piece.
Man, I'm not even sure what else to add. Here's what I tell people, Jay, is, I can't predict the future. I don't have a crystal ball, but I know what's happening right now. The only market we have is the market we're in right now. There's no other. Yesterday's gone. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we can only focus on what's happening now. And I can give you information based on what's happening right now. So it goes right back to the goal. Like, if they have a goal and they're motivated to do something now, then let's look at that. If they're not motivated, then like Ren said earlier, multiple times, we can't motivate somebody that's just not motivated. Right?
David, can I add a post-it note to what Ren said beautifully about the fool's game?
Just hold on a minute. Just give us a minute, bro.
Sure.
All right. So hold on. I lost my train of thought here. So you guys are in the Breakfast with Champions Club. I posted a link up at the top. Vulcan7. Ren is the owner of Vulcan7. If you guys want to check out Ren's services, we have it set up for you guys where you can use the services, which is going to get you in touch with any type of seller, for sale by owner, expired, circle prospecting. You guys also are doing now, you can do absentee, correct, as well as
and now we're nationwide likely to list. You circle 1,000 homes and 150 to 180 come up that are 4 to 8 times more likely to put their home on the market than the rest.
Yeah, so likely to list. So there's a link at the top if you're on Clubhouse. Otherwise, you go to vulcan7.com/path to mastery. And we also have an opportunity to get your 4th month is going to be free. Your 4th month is free if you use the link. So check that out. Tony, I will let you. What were you going to say? Do you want to?
Oh, he said beautifully about predicting the future is a fool's game. So my quick post-it note to that is if somebody were renting and you're on pause, they're trying to give you excuses, you can say, there is one future I can predict. If you buy today and have a fixed payment for 30 years, everyone else's rent is going to go nuts. So I can predict that your payment will stay the same for 30 years. How do you feel about your rent, which is month by month and year by year going to go crazy?
Beautiful. So or you may have to move out, even though they may move you out.
Oh, and the second secret benefit, unofficially, I never said this. If you're late, for 1 or 2 payments with a bank and then pay them up, you're fine. You do that with the landlord, you're out. So what future predictions do you want security? You want a fixed payment for 30 years that you know what's up, and maybe if you're late and then pay, you're still fine? Or do you want to take your chances with your rent? What would you like to do? There's your future for you, Mr. Buyer. Sign here.
I love it.
I love everything he said. And those are good points, because if someone is not in ownership now, they better take a hard look at the risk in an inflationary environment, not controlling real estate. That is the other fool's game. When you think about it, our poor renters, they get clobbered. You need to control real estate because it's a huge hedge against inflation. It's the only thing. It's about the only thing where place you can put your money that will actually follow inflation. An investment that's growing 3% or 4%. Hello, you're losing 5 every year. So that's not going to work. But if you control real estate, especially in a leveraged situation, and where you can live in it at the same time, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Antonio, what's up, brother?
Yeah, David, your last thought was on if you're not ready to buy now. That's where you're going with the conversation.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you were saying I lost. Yeah, that's
when you lost your thought.
No, I that was fine. I was pretty much done. But you're right. I mean, if somebody's not motivated to do something, we're not going to. It's kind of like when you hire somebody and bring them on your team, and you're like, well, they sold 3 houses last year, but on my team somehow they're going to sell 25. It usually doesn't work, right? Or if you bring on an admin and they were just kind of like not like a kind of a mediocre admin for the last person they worked with, but somehow they're going to join you and going to turn into some absolute rock star. You got to find good people. And at the same time, you got to find motivated people. I know there's a correlation between what I just said. Hopefully you guys get it, but that's the reality. We can't change people. That's what I'm saying. So you got to find people that are motivated. And if they are motivated, you can help them by providing the right information and providing good information and real information and in ethical information. And then they can use it to make a decision. That's what it ultimately comes down to. But if people are just not motivated, then yeah, we're just all wasting our time.
And if the audience will close your eyes for a moment, and if you'll close your eyes for a moment and think about a time when you were working with a buyer or seller that was so motivated to buy or sell, think about that. What was that like? How did it go? Their interest. They were in a hurry and they were intense and they were focused and they needed it to get it done. The biggest problem is we're happy to go with mediocrity because we met the handful of people than to spend an extra hour a day meeting strangers. One of the things that I remember a great speaker, he said he made the audience close their eyes and he goes, now picture yourself boarding a helicopter. Now, once you're flying over the area where you sell a lot of homes, now all the homes down below where a seller, the owners are talking about selling the home, turn green. Your job is to go find those people. They're out there. They're out there. Go find them. It's true.
You want to hear something funny, Ren? I built this space over my garage, and so the AC the central AC is not really connected up here. So I have a window air conditioner, and I was, it's cold out, so I went to go pull it out earlier, and I friggin' thing fell. It fell out the window and smashed all over my driveway. And not only that, but it landed on top of the pool. Like we have a ladder for the pool. And just the whole thing. I don't know what I'm thinking about. I'm looking at the window and I'm hearing all this noise.
So hopefully somebody filmed it for one of those.
Thank God nobody was out there, like
great fails videos or something where they show fail.
Yeah, thank God nobody was out there and got killed.
No, it'll be on TikTok, folks. That whole scenario.
Actually, that would have been nice on TikTok. That would have been good if I could have filmed it. Anyway, I don't know. That's way off topic. But let's start. So in closing, because I hear noise out there, and I'm like, wonder what's happening. But in closing, let's. Do we have any final questions from anybody on the stage? Anybody else want to ask a question before we wrap it up today? We got a few.
I was going to say something. Actually, you're right. If you're not motivated.
You get cut off?
The phone keeps ringing. I think we did. Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, you got cut off? Jeez. He was into some good thought.
I just got the listings.
Oh, there he is.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can. Start over. You're just back. You were off.
Yeah, this is the problem with trying to do podcasts on a phone and Clubhouse and all right. But anyway, yes.
All right, you're on. Go ahead.
Do you have a question,
Okay,
or is this a question, Peter?
Go ahead, Peter.
No, question, but I also have a question afterwards. Actually, we're talking about the motivation.
Pick one. Pick a question or give us a comment, because
let me go with
we're coming to the end. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Portugal, you mentioned that a lot of agent phone call reluctant because they want to work with weak lead. What do you mean by that?
I think he said.
Can you repeat that's not for me, Peter. I think that was for Vulcan.
Can you hear me?
So yeah. Peter, you had asked because Ren mentioned call reluctance was one of the biggest challenges. So what was your question regarding that?
He also said that a lot of agents like to work with weak lead. That's why they're called reluctant. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by
that? Means that you haven't talked to enough people and you're satisfied with just taking somebody that's maybe on the fence about buying, hoping to convince them to do something, as opposed to spending an extra hour each day, talk to another 6, 7, 8 people and find somebody that's hot and ready to go. Because we'd rather just, it's more gratifying. It's more gratifying to just work with somebody now than it is to talk to another 6 or 8, an extra hour each day, talking to 6 or 8 people, total strangers, to try to find the next hot one. We'll just settle for lugging somebody around for weeks at a time who may or may not do anything. This is human nature. But if we'll push through that and set standards for the people we're willing to work with, I can only help you if you're ready to buy now. Or are you, if a seller that needs to sell now, they want to sell, a highly motivated seller. If you don't have those, let somebody else work them and keep looking for those people, because it's just so much easier. It's not as gratifying, but you'll make a lot more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I know. I understand what you mean.
You just have to talk to more people each day to improve the quality of who you're working with. That if the quality is we're working with weak people, it's because we're not spending enough time each day looking for somebody that's ready to go.
Yeah. It's basically get out of your comfort zone then and take massive action.
Right. Well, and talk to more people in order to raise the level of quality and be very selective, very selective. And anybody that's weak, refer them out, because there are plenty of agents that will work with weak leads that might buy or might sell, and they're happy to work with them and pay you a referral fee. And the only ones you will work with are people that are ready to go now. You have standards. If you write out a list of standards, what are your standards? Someone that's willing to sell in the next 3 weeks, someone that's willing to price it, somebody that has to sell or has such a high desire to sell. What are your standards? Make a list of standards, put them up on the wall, and then don't deviate. Are they willing to price it within 8% of the closest comparable? Or, if they go, wow, I know you're saying everything's 400, but I want 505. You have to be able to say no.
Yeah. Well, I would also add, I think call reluctance does come as a result of wasting time with unqualified, unmotivated people, because you just keep getting, run around, you keep getting no's, you keep getting ridiculous. And then you're just like, this is frustrating. This doesn't work. So when you actually are focusing on motivated people, you have less call reluctance because you're getting more results.
Well, here is a secret answer to that. Go find somebody that is listing a lot of property through prospecting in a market outside of yours. You might have to drive 45 minutes or an hour or even 2 hours, or you might, and go shadow them, get there that evening, have dinner with them if they're available, get to their office first thing at 7:30 in the morning, watch them till noon, have lunch with them, have taken extensive notes, and go home and do what they do. And you'll watch them set 1 or 2 listing appointments each day. Even if you had to, hop on a plane and fly to Chicago or wherever they are for the day, spend $800 in a hotel room and do the same thing, that $800 will turn into $8,000 pretty quickly, because it's called the copycat principle. If you watch them, because they're not doing anything extraordinary, but then you bring an audio recorder app and you record what they're saying, lay that down and record 2 hours of it and play it over and over and over and over and over and over again, and do what they do. And then here's the best option. Go to davidhill.link and sign and look at all his links on there and sign up for his Path to Mastery and get involved, because he's got a very
we have a club
recipe, a very strong recipe to get this done.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a club of people that meet every day, Monday through Friday.
I mean, don't reinvent the wheel, folks. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just use the copycat principle. Get involved with a coaching organization that's going to give you the exact recipe. I mean, you can take it to the bank. When you look at it, what David does doesn't cost you anything, because the return on investment is so high. So there is no cost. You're basically just loaning yourself the money for a few weeks.
Ren, here's the thing I get all the time, and it's confusing to me, is there's a lot of people that real estate agents I come, they say they want to list expireds and for sale by owners, and yet they don't join the community. And then when you ask them to join the community, they a lot of them are just like, well, I'm doing this. But then I don't know. It's
yeah, but they gotta want it badly enough, David. And that's why you say next. I do. In their next lifetime, they will come around.
Like when I first got my license, I joined a team, and I was on his team for 6 months, and he taught me how to call for sale by owners. Right. And I eventually left his team because I learned it. But if I hadn't started on his team, I probably wouldn't have ever started for sale by owners.
And then
I hired a coach.
That's the copycat principle. Agreed.
Yeah. And then I found Derek Lipsky, who is doing more for sale by owners. Yeah, Derek Lipsky, right? Yeah. And then Jeff Glover, and then all these other guys, and I'm like, wow, these guys are killing it with expireds and FSBO. So I just started hanging out with them and role playing.
I mean, a lot of my great friends, they started out and they were making $400,000 their first year or two in the business. $400,000 income, not commission. I mean, not gross, certainly not volume. and now they make 2 and 3 million. And because they're a listing driven business, they're not working weekends. They take 6 to 8 weeks vacation, and they fly first class. They stay at exotic resorts. They have money and the time to enjoy it. And this can all be yours. If the price is right. There we go.
All right. Well, listen, here's the message today. The market update is yes, as of this, if you compare this month to last year, the inventory sales are down almost 20%. But
and so are the realtors.
Yes.
Memberships. But here's the thing about a large number of those realtors don't yet know they've left the business.
Yeah. So the reality is there's still motivated people. You just got to put in the numbers. You got to put in the work. You got to get in the trenches. You got to have conversations, and you got to know what the flip.
And if you're looking for sellers, it is so much easier than 6 months ago. Do you think 6 months ago the for sale owners thought they needed your help?
Well, yeah, that's one that area, of course, that niche I think is absolutely more open now. But yeah, just got to find the motivated people.
And the expireds are the number of expires. Now, most of those are greed sales because agents didn't need to price it to sell for the longest time. So expireds are up dramatically. So there's plenty of people to call, and it's not hard to build a listing inventory. You want to have 6, 8, 10, 12 listings. It's not very hard compared to even 6 months ago. And do we know if you have 6, 8, 10, 12 listings, are you going to sell a few? Oh, yes.
Sell them all. Sell them all, baby. All right. Well, listen, how do people get in touch with you, Ren?
Pardon? This was not normal last year where 100% of your inventory sold. That was not normal market. That wasn't normal.
No, you're right. Well, I mean, you're not supposed to be offering, 10% over asking, and then people won't accept anything less than 7% over asking. That's kind of a weird anomaly.
I know. What's this inspection?
Yeah. No inspection, no appraisal.
What do you mean it has to appraise?
Here's a message for buyers agents, Ren. For buyers agents, like when your buyer's like, well, interest rates went up. I would educate them. Well, interest rates may have went up, but here's the good news. You don't have to pay 10% over. You don't have to be bidding on every property you buy. You don't have to waive your home inspection. You don't have to waive your appraisal.
Yeah. And if you're buying up, you're actually locking in your bricks and mortar to ride inflation instead of your house, instead of the money depreciating. You're controlling a larger, buying up is the smartest thing you can do right now. Buy the biggest piece of real estate you can.
Yeah. All right. Ren, what should people do if they want to get in touch with you?
What is it? Vulcan7.com/path to mastery.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, man. That's Ren. If anybody needs to get in touch with Ren or me, Ren Jones, Pat, he's Vulcan7. You can look up Vulcan7 if you want to get if you're interested in our community, you join our community. We also, we work with Ren and Vulcan7, and he's our provider for myself as well as a lot of our members. And, these guys do awesome with it. And we've got a special opportunity. We can get a free month of the service. So check us out. And I just want to thank you guys for listening. Ren, any final thoughts for people that listen to this? What do you want to leave them with?
I mean, we're going into, I know that's not the narrative. We're actually going into a market that's a lot easier to make money if you're willing to follow this formula, listing property. That is a lot easier than it was in the last 3 years with no inventory. Well, still no inventory, but where everything was selling in 2 seconds. It's nice that it actually takes a minute and a half to sell them.
If it's priced right.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, it's a pleasure, man. We'll be back next month. And thank you for your time, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you.